Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Lachlan Carter. I come from an organisation called 100 Story Building, which is not a treehouse. It doesn't have 52 levels. It is a 100-story building. It's in Footscray. We have 99 floors accessible via a trapdoor at the back, so they're all underground. We do a whole lot of writing projects and things there. We'd love to have a few of you visit us sometime. Just before I introduce our very special guest today, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're standing, the Boonwurrung and Wurundjeri people and members of the Kulin Nation. Pay my respects to their elders past and present, and any members of those communities who are here today as well. Now, there's a whole lot of stuff going on outside. People are playing around with a strange-shaped ball, yelling things about various bird life, gooses, I don't know, sparrows, whatever they are, and they're going to be having some sort of competition tomorrow. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about something else, something entirely different. It's not a competition. It's not a huge number of people. It's one person in particular. His name is... I'm glad you know who it is, and I'm glad you know why we're here. So you guys are going to help me introduce him to the stage, and he's going to be here to have a bit of a conversation with you all. And you can throw questions at him, and he may answer them, and he may make the answers up. He may just lie to your faces. On the count of three, can you all help me welcome our very special guest? And clap and make a bit of a noise. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Griffiths.
Thank you very much, Lachlan. Well, thank you so much. What a lovely gathering of people you are. You're such a nice, well-controlled, nice-looking bunch of people. You're not making noise like many of my audiences. I'd like to congratulate you on what a lovely bunch you are. And to ask you, why are you reading my books? Because, you know, my books are full of horrible people doing horrible things. The bad book being the baddest. No, the very bad book is the very baddest. The bad book and the very bad book is the worst possible combination you can have. So you should put one of those in a rubbish bin on your way out, please. Yes. You read the bad book in the train and part of the very bad book. Where did you come from? A long way away. Bendigo. Upway, that is a long way away. So you took an hour, and so you'll be expecting a really good talk for that, won't you? I don't have a talk. Do you know there's a very important show on television called Q&A, and it's where the adults get together and talk about important things and ask a lot of questions and occasionally get answers, but usually don't. That actually happens in this venue. So I thought today we could have a Q&A about the Treehouse. So you can ask me all the important questions that you have, and I will attempt to answer them. Yes. How long have I been writing books? Since I was your age, which would be about 8 years old. Are you? 7, sorry. 7 years old, my dad was sick one day, and I thought, I'll do a nice thing. I'll make a get well card for him. And something happens whenever I pick up a pen, this mischievous voice comes out, and I know what I should have done. Get well, Dad, you know, sorry you're sick, hope you get better soon, love, Andrew, because that's my real name. Andy is only a cunning disguise, so I can write in peace. But that's what I should have done. But the little voice says, no, don't, that's boring. Why don't you just make it a bit harder? And so I wrote, Dear Dad, get well soon. And he turned the page and it said, or you are doomed. And then it said, and add another page and show his body being buried in the backyard. And a little cross that says, well, it was supposed to say doomed, but it said domed, because I couldn't spell doomed. And so I gave that to my father, and do you know what? He got better right away. I can't muck around with this illness. And so my sisters found that funny, and so whenever anyone in our family would get sick, we'd all write threatening get well cards to each other. And it escalated, as most of my stuff does, particularly when I get with Terry. We escalate each other, we goad each other on, we get sillier and sillier. And so by the age of 10, I was writing one, and I can remember it quite well. It said, "Dear Dad, if you do not get better soon, I will kick you and punch you and cut your head off. And if you do not get better then, I will kill you." And so I illustrated with some helpful drawings of kicking and punching and cutting his head off. And he's still alive today. He's 83 now. Yeah, he's too scared to die. So thanks to my cards. But that illustrates what I tend to do in any writing situation. I do the opposite of what you're supposed to do because I love making people laugh. Or if I can't make them laugh, I'll make them go, "Oh, that's disgusting." And that's just as good as a laugh, because then the person reading that out to someone gets a laugh, but makes someone else feel ill. And has anyone ever actually vomited from reading one of my books? You have. What bummer sore is that? Let me predict the page. Was there a particular bummer sore that made you sick? Yeah, which one was it? Now we're going to have a reading from my guest reader. What's your name?
Thomas.
Thomas. Which is your favourite bum? Would it be the Diarrheosaurus?
Yeah, I like that one, but I really like this one.
The Stenchgantosaurus. It is one of the ugliest, dirtiest, wartiest, pimpliest, grossest, greasiest, hairiest and stinkiest of all bummersaurs. And what do you like about that?
Well, I really like how it's got all these pus-filled warts everywhere. Because it said, enormous pus-filled bum wart.
Quality literature, a quality price. And as recommended by Thomas.
I used to run around with my friend and shout out poo jokes.
You used to run around with your friend and shout out poo jokes. Was that as a result of reading my books, or did you just do that anyway, just out of interest? Okay, so you're the sort of kid who does run around yelling poo jokes, and then you find my books later. Yeah. So it's not my fault, is it? Yeah, did you hear that, parents? It's not my fault. It's Terry's fault for drawing that horrible thing. I mean, did we really need an illustration of it? Yeah, we did, yeah. And I love to go to those places where you don't really need to say that or illustrate it, but our books are full of those type of illustrations. Yes? You got the early birthday present? When is your birthday? 2 days from now, and you've got this as an early birthday present, and you're already halfway through it. So you think you'll run out before your birthday. So your parents will have to buy you another book. Yeah. There's a solution to every problem. Or stop reading for 2 days. Are you a football fan? No. I was going to say get involved in the grand final and don't read anything for 2 days. Impossible. Yes. Am I going to sign the books? Yes, later on. Yes. Yeah, when I shut up. But you've still got a few questions to go before I'll sign anyone's books. Yes, Batman. Do I actually live in a treehouse? Well, you people are getting all the big questions straight up. Do you want the true answer or the not so true answer? Not so true answer. Yes, I do live in a treehouse with Terry Denton. The truth? You want the truth? You think you can handle the truth? I live in a 3-story townhouse in Williamstown. Yeah, you didn't want that, did you? But Terry comes over, and I'm married to Jill, who is the model for the girl who lives in the forest with all the animals, and she's an editor. She's been my editor ever since my very first book, Just Tricking, which was 15 years ago. and we met and we fell in love, and she's been the editor on every book. So she sort of helps me write, and she solves a lot of the problems that me and Terry create. She's very good at saying, look, that's not very funny, cut that out. And you've lost me. And I'm going, yeah, but it's so funny. They're just smashing and punching and kicking each other. And she says, I don't find that funny. It's just boring. Cut it out. And so that's why Jill solves all the problems for Andy and Terry in the treehouse. So when Terry accidentally feeds his underpants to the sharks, yeah, you remember that, so do I, and they get sick, we call Jill, who comes and performs open shark surgery on the shark. So in real life, she performs open book surgery on our books and makes them easy to read, and that's why they're fast and they get a lot of working over. But we all work together. Terry comes over once a month usually, and we have a day just working on the second floor of our townhouse, and we look out over the park. There's a park full of dogs. We can see a bit of the sea, and we just have a great time. We get lost in these books, and it's like we're playing in a treehouse. So that's how that all came about. So to me, we do live in a treehouse. We've just added a few extra levels, 13 levels at a time. And the reason there's 13 levels is because I asked Terry, can you just draw a picture of a treehouse with a bowling alley and a tank full of man-eating sharks and any other inappropriate stuff you can think up to put into a tree? And so he drew the first 13-storey treehouse, and it just happened to have 13 levels. And I said, that's a great name for a book, so let's go with 13. And then when we wanted to do another one, we just doubled it, and then we used 13 to decide, make lots of decisions. How many flying cats? We need 13 flying cats. How many flavours of ice cream in Edward Scooperhand's ice cream parlour? It's 78, which is a multiple of 13. So everything is kind of 13 based, purely arbitrary. Yes? How many more treehouse books? I don't know, but the next one is half written already, the 65-storey treehouse. And that's about, a lot of people have been asking, do we have a permit for a treehouse? One this dangerous and this high. And the answer, of course, is yes. Terry looks after the permits, but the book starts with Terry coming to Andy and going, actually, no, I forgot. So we have a visit from the permit inspector. So we need to get a permit, and he's going to shut the tree down. And so Terry's built a time machine out of a rubbish bin, and we're going to go in the rubbish bin, we're going to go back in time to get the permit. What could possibly go wrong with that plan, do you think? Yes? We go a bit too far and get eaten by bummersaws. You're brilliant, you're right. But we're going to go even further back than that. We're going to go back 650 million years in time, when life was just a puddle of pond scum. One who looks like Andy, one who looks like Terry. And we're going to save the pond scum. Anyway, that's getting into too much information. 78-storey treehouse, I've got a really good idea for that, and then we'll see. We'll see if you're still reading, or whether you're sick of it, and whether you want me to go back and do What Bummersaw Is That too. Yes. Yep. Do I ever remember the dreams I've had about the treehouse? No, I don't actually dream in my stories. Sleep is a time to get away from my imagination, hopefully. But I did dream about a treehouse when I was younger, and I always was a bit envious of people who had tree houses. My cousin David had a beautiful one, so I used to play in that one. Have we got a microphone in the... Oh, you've got some for the people up the top. Yes.
Dumb things did in the 36-storey treehouse.
What's that?
Did Terry do the dumb things in the treehouse books?
Terry's always doing dumb things. In fact, I made a list of them the other day because I had a moment, and I made a list. Oh no, some of them are not in the books. I haven't had a chance to put all of the dumb things. 13 dumb things what Terry has done. Number 1, painted a cat yellow and turned it into a catnary. Not only dumb, but cruel. Yeah, that is true, yes. How many people have painted a cat yellow and made it and thrown it off the roof of the house? Right, you're as bad as Terry. Not a good idea. Well, not with your cat anyway. You borrow someone else's cat. That's a fun holiday activity, really, isn't it? After you go home today, see if you can make a cat fly. You get 9 attempts before they stop working. That's why we use cats and not dogs. Number 2, he washed his underpants in the shark tank and then the shark ate his underpants and got sick. Number 3, in the 39-story treehouse, he invented a once-upon-a-time machine to write and draw our books for us, but then it locked us out of the treehouse and we got hit by all its hands. Number 4, he used my head as a bowling ball. Apparently an accident. Number 5, he married a sea monster who tried to eat us both. Mermaidia, yes, a beautiful mermaid who turned into a sea monster. In the latest book, you might notice in our Make Your Own Pizza parlour, he cooks me in a pizza. Yeah, it's not right. You think he's in love with Jill. What evidence do you have? Just stop the talk for a minute. Do you? That's right. He's trying to kill me so he can get with Jill. Right. Thank you so much. Can we talk later? You may have more information that I'm oblivious to. This is something different. I've got to finish telling you what an idiot he is first. Hang on. But this supports your theory. Number 7, he whacked me with a giant banana and knocked me out, so I couldn't tell the story. He flushed me down the toilet while I was trying to get the ghost out. Did you know that? No. Yes. And oh, this is your favourite part of the book, is it? The bit where I shut up and Terry stops drawing. Yeah. Well, look, this is a classic illustration of how hard it is to work with him, because we were having a drawing competition and I felt that he cheated because he'd practiced drawing all the things the night before.
You're the one who's the writer and he's the drawer, so he would.
Yeah, but he wasn't drawing anything, was he? When we looked at his sketch pad to do the book, all he'd done for a whole year was a picture of his finger. Is that funny? No, it's not. And when I said it's not funny and you're lazy, he said, no, I've got a close-up picture of my finger. So I said, well, that's great, just blank page after blank page. And so I said, do I have to do the drawings for you? Just doing some aerobics. Oh, cool. But then I lost the drawing competition. Well, I got mad. What's the correct thing? If you lose a competition, should you shake the other person's hand and congratulate them on their win? Or should you grab the nearest giant banana and try to whack them with it? How many people would whack the person who just beat them in the competition? Oh, not as many as I hoped. But it is an understandably human reaction. And so that's what happened. But he snatched the giant banana out of my hand. It's not good snatching things, is it?
You are stronger than
He snatched it and then whacked me, and that's why I couldn't tell the story for at least half a dozen pages. And then he said, well, what have you done? And I said, I've written 4 pages.
How about you do the barking and bark show?
But how about I do Barky the Barking Dog?
Yeah.
Don't you think that will get kind of boring?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'd like you to read it.
No.
Who can read Barky the Barking Dog for me right now? Yes. What's your name?
Sam.
Sam. And what's your name?
Morgan.
Morgan. Okay, Sam.
Bark, 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 bark.
Are you Mr. Bark, you idiot? Look. What about that one? Yeah.
Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark.
I think you put an extra one in there. Yeah, yeah. No, this is an excellent reading and right off the cuff. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think we've had enough of Terry's silliness for one. Yeah, well, it's my job to get the book done. It's Terry's book not to get the book done, and that's what the books are about. And in real life, he's always drawing random things. And you might notice at the end of 52-story Treehouse, when Andy and Terry are floating in their swimming pool, there's a cow swimming around in the swimming pool. Did anyone notice that cow with a snorkel on? And I said to Terry, "Why have you drawn a cow with a snorkel on swimming around in our pool?" And he said, "I don't know, just felt like drawing a cow." And I said, "Looks kind of sinister. Maybe it's trying to steal our ideas." And so I said, "Can you draw a cow in every single other swimming pool picture?" So I'm going to use that for a new book at some point, Cows Who Steal People's Ideas. But that's how the books happen, random stuff. We've got one right up the top. Yes.
Is your is Mr. Big Nose real, or is he just made up in the book?
You're trying to ask me to get me to say that my publisher has a really big nose and a bad temper? No. 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 My publisher is a lovely woman called Claire Craig, and she has a really lovely temper, unless you don't get your book in on time, in which case you are in big trouble, because everything's planned a year ahead. The printers are booked, venues are booked, everything. So everything relies on you getting your book work done. But if I have 12 months, that's a really nice amount of time, of all the thinking time you need to do. The notebook, that's where it all starts for me, just drawing little pictures and little sentences. And then I go to Terry and he draws nicer pictures, and the story evolves. But it takes 12 months. So we don't really have a problem that I say. But it can get nerve-wracking at times, particularly as you're coming up to the deadline and you just want to keep rewriting it and making the jokes better and making the story flow a bit better. So me and Jill particularly, and Terry too, would redraw right up until the moment where they say you can't do it anymore, it's gone to the printers. And then we all let out a big sigh of relief. And it's a wonderful day when I've finished the book. And now I have another 12 months before the next book next September. So this is like holidays for me. Yes?
Are you going to make a movie, and are you a fan of Adventure Time because you're wearing an Adventure Time shirt?
Oh, I am too. No, I hate Adventure Time. Do not watch it because it's the best show on television. And I want it all to myself. No, I love Adventure Time. I think it's one of the greatest cartoons ever. Second only to The Day My Butt Went Psycho, which is now screening on Go Channel. But if I had to choose, I'd probably choose Adventure Time. Because it's so randomly brilliant. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan. Am I going to make a movie of the Treehouse? Not if I can help it. Because Terry and I both love books, and books give you a particular thing that movies and animations can't do. So we're not in a hurry to make a movie, and hopefully it will never happen. unless the guy who writes Adventure Time comes to me and says, I'd like to make Treehouse into a movie, then I would let him. But I'm going to write a book about that, and I'm going to have a big-time Hollywood producer come to the Treehouse and say, I want to make a movie, and then Andy, Terry, Jill, and Mr. Big Nose will all have their idea of what the movie should be. Because this is the problem with movies, everyone's involved. Andy will want an action adventure starring him as the main hero. Jill will want a story all about animals with no humans in it at all. Terry will just want some random stream of nonsense about cows and stupid things. And Mr. Big Nose will just want a movie that has Big Nose products all through it. And so there will be a book about the movie, but I don't know about a movie. Yes, The Girl with the Owl. Where do we get all the money to make the Treehouse? You're asking about the economics of the Treehouse, which I have no idea about. It's in the book, the logic would be that Terry and I are doing our books, and that brings us our income so that we can stay in the tree and we don't have to go back to the zoo and pretend to be monkeys. That's our worst job ever. So, yeah. It's all a bit shaky, the logic of it. Don't think too much about that stuff. Yes. Why isn't Silky in the character list on Once Upon a Time Machine? Did we leave Silky out? Yeah, I reckon we've got Silky. Has someone got 39 Story Treehouse? Can we fact check that? Can you check the list of characters that the machine has to choose from? Check that we got Silky, because if we didn't, Terry is in big trouble. Even bigger trouble than trying to kill me and steal Jill. Have you got a Silky? We've got a positive sighting of Silky in the book. So, there we go. Oh, we're going to have the official sighting. There we go. Silky the Flying Cat at the top of page 75. Phew. Thank you very much. Any other typos or corrections or problems? Please keep them to yourself. There's not much I can do about it now. The girl in the blue there, yes. Is Barky the Barking Dog his favourite TV show? Anything that wastes time is Terry's favourite thing to do. I'm always going, come on, can we tell the story? And he's going, oh, look at what I just did with my pen. It's a moustache. And it's not funny, Terry, come on. But really, in real life, we have a wonderful time together. And I don't think we've ever had an argument about anything, which is probably pretty rare. Yes. Have I won awards? Oh, lots of Children's Choice Awards. Children choose them as their favourite books. If you're asking about the Children's Book Council, have I ever won the Children's Book of the Year award? No. Do I care? No. No, I don't care. No, I really don't. It's wonderful to have you all so involved in the books. That's a great reward in itself. But I did just recently, 2 weeks ago, break the Guinness World Record on the Treehouse tour for the most amount of people dressed as trees in the one spot. Over in Western Australia at a primary school, we had 766 people dressed as trees. Brown pants, green top, headdress of leaves, and a lot of them were wearing branches. And we had the official Guinness World Records guy fly in from Sydney, and he checked it all, and so now I hold the record for that. That means more to me than any award I've ever got. Guinness World Records. And thanks. Me and 765 other people, of course. If you would like to see that, Reading's Bookshop in Carlton are having a display of some of my junk. I mean stuff. I mean inspirational things that I've used for the books. That's in their window display for the next 2 weeks. And one of those things is the actual Guinness World Records certificate. So, yeah, I'm a little bit proud about that. Yes. But to answer your question, in the bad book, I probably was a bit sensitive how we never won any awards, so we gave ourselves an award on the front. It says the Baddest Book in the World Award. So that's not official, that's made up. But it's real to us. Thank you. Terry hides cards. What do you mean cards? He hides what love letters and things in every picture, in every book. It's all coded to win Jill. Yeah, right. I'm finishing this talk in just a second, and I'm going down to Mornington to have words. Yes. Why is Terry always doing the hard work, like building the time machine and the Disguise-O-Matic, and you're suggesting that I do nothing? Is that what you're suggesting? Next question. Yes, someone needs to direct him. You need a boss. You need a manager in any book, and that's me. Yeah. I can't be building and wasting time doing the hard work. Oh, Bad Daddy says no. Hey, come here. Come and read it for us. All right. This is Bad Daddy says no.
Daddy, can I stand up? No. Daddy, can I sit down? No. Daddy, can I go here? No. Daddy, can I go there? No. Daddy, can I breathe in? No. Daddy, can I breathe out? No. Oops.
The kid dies. Yeah. I particularly like the way you read the word no. It was really spirited. Was that based on anyone that you know? No. Yes. The original version of Just Tricking was a 6-page pocket book, because I used to make my own little books just with a photocopier and a pair of scissors and a stapler. It was a pretty high-tech operation. And I could make these little 12-page books for very, very cheap, and I would sell them at markets and give them to my friends, and sometimes charge my friends, make my family pay for them. And so that's how I got started writing. And my first book was Just Tricking, which was 9 practical jokes to play on your friends and family. And they were pretty brilliant. They were ones like Smell the Cheese. Does anyone know Smell the Cheese? It's where you disguise your fist as a block of cheese, your other hand as a plate, and you go up to your friend in primary school and you say, "Would you like to smell the cheese?" And in grade 1 at Pascoe Vale Primary School, where I went, none of my friends could tell the difference between this fist and a block of cheese. So they'd always say, "Yes, I'd like to smell the cheese." I'd say, "Put your nose on the plate," and when they were sniffing, you punch them in the nose. Hilarious joke. For everyone except the person getting their nose punched, which is why you have to yell, "Just Tricking," and then run away as fast as possible. And so that's how the idea of Just Tricking came. Someone playing quite a mean, stupid joke, but thinking they're the funniest person in the world. And then in Just Tricking, the stories that I then wrote are that kid, it always backfires on him, so it's not so funny for him. Yes?
I was wondering, either in the 65 or the 77 story Treehouse, Could there be an IMAX screen cinema with smell-o-vision?
An IMAX screen with smell-o-vision. I don't know if the Treehouse would be able to fit an IMAX screen. What do you think? Yeah? One of the big, I guess it's got a volcano, so I don't know if we need an IMAX screen. I mean, we're living with an erupting volcano, a wave machine that has 30-metre waves. But yeah, the smell-o-vision is a nice idea. You'd like it a bit smellier in the Treehouse. All right, shall do. And
What are sea monkeys?
what are sea monkeys? You don't know what sea monkeys are? Well, you should. When I was your age, in the 1970s, like probably many of your parents, they were the fun thing on the back of comics. They said you could have instant life if you just get a packet of sea monkey eggs, put them in a jar, and then add the water. They would come alive instantly, and they'd be these clowning monkeys who would build castles and entertain you for hours. In fact, they often were just these little brine shrimp that just looked kind of horrible and died if you left them in the sun too long. That was the most entertaining thing we could do, was attack each other's sea monkeys, me and my sisters. But you can still buy them, and they are fun because they're brine shrimp and their eggs just lie dormant for probably hundreds of years. But you can make them come alive instantly and they bob around in the jar. So they are a true thing. Occasionally they turn into mermaids who turn into sea monsters and try to eat you, but don't let that put you off. Yep, up the top.
Why you wrote these books that's so silly?
Well, through trial and error, I found that people prefer the sillier stories. And I discovered that from Just Tricking. The very first book I wrote was a boy tries to get the day off going to school. And how many people have tried to get the day off going to school by pretending they were too sick to go to school? How many have done that? Be honest. It worked. How did you get it to work? You stayed in bed. Yes, that's a good start. Sat on the couch. You got out of bed, you idiot. You got in and out of bed.
My mum was something quite safe, so she thinks I need to feel better, so it works.
So your mum is easily fooled, obviously. But most parents aren't. They go, you're not sick, go to school. So my character thinks, I'm going to go that bit further. I'm going to pretend I'm dead. And then his parents, instead of being responsible parents saying, get out of bed, you're not dead, go to school, they pretend to think that he's dead and to teach him a lesson. They dig a hole in the backyard and they drop him in and they start filling in the dirt. And they want him to admit that he's not dead. But he thinks, I'm not going to admit it, no way. And so they finally bury him. And it's every parent's fantasy, really. See, my parents are doing the opposite of what good parents do. And then he jumps out. I think his dog jumps in and saves him and digs him out. And he jumps up and he goes, Mum and Dad, I'm not dead. I was just tricking. And his dad is so frightened to see his son, the zombie, come out of his grave that his dad clutches his heart, falls over, has a heart attack and dies. And so he goes, oh no, I've killed my dad. And I've got to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and emergency heart massage. But just as he's about to do that, his mother's screaming at him, get away from him, you blood-sucking freak zombie. And he goes, I've driven my mother insane. And so he's about to give his dad mouth-to-mouth, because he's essentially a good boy. His dad starts laughing, and he goes, Dad? And he goes, just tricking, son. But my character, instead of thinking, oh, what a rotten dad you are, he just thinks, oh, well, I've been the victim of a very cruel practical joke in which my parents buried me. I'm wet, muddy, thought I killed my dad, thought I'd driven my mother insane. But at least I got the day off school. So Andy that character, Andy, whenever he's doing anything, never thinks he's losing. He always thinks he's winning, even when he's totally losing. And that makes him a really fun character, and that's why he's a comic character. If he got upset, he'd be a tragic character. That would be quite a different story. But that was the story. Everyone who read Just Tricking said, we like the book, but we love that story. And so I thought, you're giving me license to go further and further. In the next story, Just Annoying, in the next collection, there was a story where the parents... let me check with you. How many parents have ever threatened you that if you didn't stop misbehaving in the car, they would stop the car and make you get out and walk? Tough love. You were actually made to get out and walk. How far... It's not often carried out, this threat. Walked around the corner and Mum went round the block, the long way. You were going this way, you're circling each other for many hours. Did your mum actually come back or did she just take off? She came back, she loves you. I wrote a story where I thought, what's the worst possible place this could happen? Would be coming across the Simpson Desert, and the parents finally get a gutful of him and they say, right, you're out, get out of the car. And they put him out in the middle of the desert, no water, no hat, no sunscreen, nothing, and they take off. And then I thought, this is just like Hansel and Gretel, where the kids are abandoned in the forest. And so they take off, and my character stands there and goes, they'll be back. But an hour later, they're not back. And then 2 hours later, he has to hitch a ride with a motorcycle guy. And they chase after his parents, and his parents see them coming up in the rearview mirror, but instead of his dad stopping, his dad speeds up. And parents, you've all felt like this, of course. So my character, not defeated, still jumps from the motorbike through the sunroof of the car while it's still going. And so the story ends happily, for him anyway. Tragically for the parents, he's back in the car. The other famous one in that collection was the shower story. How many people have ever... well, let me check first. This is a personal question. How many people have had a shower at some stage in their lives? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... It's good, most of you. Very good. How many have stood in the shower, put their foot on the plug hole and tried to fill the whole cubicle up with water? Good. So you're not actually cleaning yourself in the shower. You're just trying to turn it into an enormous vertical fish tank, fun tank. But it's hard because the water goes out the cracks. So one day I was having a shower and I thought, I was much, this age, and I was thinking, no matter how well you block the plug off, you can use a face washer, you can use soap, you can use your bum, if you happen to have one and hasn't grown arms and legs and run away. But it all goes out the cracks in the door. So I thought, what if you got a tube of silicone glue and you glued the cracks up and you glued up the plug so no water could get out? Would that be a good idea? How many people would say that would be a good idea? How many people would say it's a terrible idea? And I expect all the parents' hands to go up at this point. Yeah, why do you say it's a terrible idea? Why is that a bad idea? Because you could drown. You're thinking ahead to the point where it's filled up with water and you might not be able to open the door because you glued it up. I'm glad you're thinking ahead. That's a good quality. But in the books, my character never thinks ahead. All he does is exactly what he wants to do right at that moment, and that's why he's fun to write. And this is a writing tip. Make your characters do the opposite to common sense. Disregard safety. They just want a shower full of water. And he does, and he goes to turn the tap off, but he can't turn it off because it's stuck, and he can't get out now. The tap's stuck, and there's a door, it goes to there. What would be the easy way out of the trap that the characters created? Yes? Climb over the top. How many people would like to see this character climb over the top of the shower, run to his bedroom, put his clothes on and get out of the house before his parents discover what's happened in the shower, and live a long and happy, responsible life? How many? About 30, 40 people. Who would prefer to see him trapped in the shower, suffering horribly? Now, this is a long answer to this question. You see, everyone just wants to see a character suffering in the most stupid way possible. So we need to close that off. So I just go, what if the doors went right to the roof? What is an enclosed shower cubicle? And now he's got walls of glass. How would you solve this problem? Yeah? Smash the glass. Worst possible thing, this is how I write the story. I think, what if the doors were triply reinforced, shatterproof shower screen glass? In fact, they're bulletproof. You could take a gun, fire it, and the bullets would just bounce back at your naked bodies. Not that you should play with guns in the shower, right? If you take away nothing from this talk, remember that. The proper place to play with guns is in the backyard, right? Always. Not in the shower. All you've got, you don't have a gun anyway, all you've got is a rubber duck. How would you use the rubber duck to help you? Yes. Yeah, you've got to get out of the shower because you've got no food. All you've got is a rubber duck. Can you eat a rubber duck? Yeah. And soap. How long can you live on a block of soap? And shampoo, you've got something to drink. It's pretty cool. And the slimy stuff in the shower plug hole for vegetables. And you've got water to drink. You know what your real problem is? It's not what you're going to eat. It's what are you going to do when you're full of water? Freeze it and eat it? No. What do you have to do after drinking water for a while? Yes. Pee, and then it's got to come out, then you've got to drink that to stop it going over your head. So we're getting more and more serious here. Can anyone suggest how we use the duck? Just the duck, yes. Use the duck as a tap. But you're just going to skewer your duck on the tap handle. The duck that you love, your best friend in the whole world, just skewer it on a tap. That's cruelty to ducks, and you know I don't abide cruelty to animals in my story, except for cats. You could, yeah. That's a creative solution, and that's how you build stories, just using whatever you've got. Yes? I never said the glass wasn't rubber duck proof. This really is getting like Q&A now. Well, I didn't say it, but it is. So, yes. It's not using the duck. Okay, how would you get out? You could fart. Haven't you got enough problems in this enclosed space? Can you not show a little self-restraint? The fart's going to dissolve the glue, and then you'll get out and you'll come flying out on a tidal wave of water down the hallway. Oh, stop. No, there's enough about farts. We're at that point of the talk where I've lost control. Okay, well, you want to get out of the shower. So there's what's in the roof of every bathroom or fan, or, oops, I think I just gave you the answer. A fan. And your character doesn't see it until his head's pressed against it because he's so dumb. And he goes, oh, a fan. He climbs into the roof. Now you have a naked boy in the roof of the house. What could possibly go wrong at this point? Yes. What? Everything. Yeah, but what specific thing could go wrong? Yes. The roof collapses and he falls into one of the rooms. If you're a naked boy, what would be the worst room you could fall into in a house? Worse than the parents. Yes. Your sister's bedroom. That's correct. And she's having a sleepover with all her friends. There's always a way to make things worse and worse. Or you could fall into the room where your parents are having a dinner party with some important guests, and not just into the room, but right in the middle of the table, arms and legs spread. You've got a rubber duck. How would you use the rubber duck now? Yes. Throw it at your parents and run away. No, violence doesn't solve anything. Yes. What would you do with the duck? Cover up your private parts. Thank you very much. That's the correct answer. Thank you. So you see, this is how stories get built, and I love building them out of the most ordinary things. Showers, rubber ducks, naked boys. There's always a naked boy story in all of the Just stories. Yes? The rubber duck would have water, so you'd spray it at your parents, so it blinds their eyes with hot soapy water, and then run for your life. All right. You've solved your immediate problem. You've got rid of the parents, but now you're naked, running for your life, and yep. Piff the rubber duck at the light, so it's a total blackout in the room, and then what? But you're still naked. You've got no clothes. Put the dinner on. But the lettuce. Now we start thinking about how do you make food into an acceptable clothes. But that brings us back probably to an important point from the new book, the 52-story Treehouse. Has anyone picked up the important take-home message of this book? What am I trying to teach you in the 52-story Treehouse? Yes. You know what we shouldn't do, which is not to try any of the stuff that we do in the Treehouse at home. That's very good. Who knows? Yeah, but there's a specific message that I want you to take away. Eat your vegetables. Thank you very much. Vegetable Patty, who has the tragic story of her parents being squashed by giant vegetables at a farmer's market, is imploring you all to eat your vegetables so that we get rid of them off the face of the earth, so that we can all get back to eating chocolate and marshmallow without having vegetables on our plate. How many people are going to heed Vegetable Patty's call and eat their vegetables all up every meal from this point on? Hands up. How many people couldn't care less what Vegetable Patty has told them to eat their vegetables and are going to refuse to eat their vegetables anyway? Damn, I failed. You cannot live on chocolate, marshmallows and lemonade alone. No, you can't. And I feel very guilty for suggesting that's what they live on for the last 3 books. So eat a vegetable every now and again. Just one. Yes. No. Come on. We've got a dissenter here saying, in this book, Once Upon a Slime, there is a picture of a bad teacher with the words, vegetables are bad for you. Now, if a bad teacher says vegetables are bad for you, what would that really mean in real life? Yes. The teacher's a good teacher. Defeated by a brainiac. No, there's another conclusion that's more valid than that one. Yes. That she'll let you eat chocolate. Well, I guess she would, but no, come on. If a bad teacher says vegetables are bad for you, what does that really mean about vegetables? Yes. that vegetables are actually good for you. She's a bad teacher. You've got to think the opposite all the time in my books, and that will be the answer. She's not smart. She thinks all cats are girls and all dogs are boys. She thinks the capital of Australia is poo-poo wee-wee. Yeah. Are you really going to take her advice on dietary practices? Yeah. No. If you are interested in truth and reality and what's made up and what's not, this is a very good book, Once Upon a Slime. That's me telling you a little more of the truth. It's got some of my old letters to my father in it as well. Okay, I believe we're out of time. Perhaps we'll have one last question from up the top there, and then I'll hand you back to Lachlan.
Why was it a treehouse?
Sorry, what was that?
Why was it a treehouse?
Why was it a treehouse? Because we're up in our second floor of my townhouse, just lost in our imaginative world, the same way I was lost in my games when I was 10 years old with my cousin David in his treehouse. So yeah, Terry and I are literally playing, and that's how you can have a great time with your imagination. Now, I should leave you. I know it's not school, and is this the first week of the holidays or the second? First. So, okay, next week you're still on holidays, but when you go back, you're probably wanting a really good way to annoy your teachers, aren't you? All right, this is how you annoy your teachers at school. Number one, whenever they ask a question, make sure you're first up with your hand and you go, oh, oh, oh. And when they ask you, you go, forgot. It's really simple. You're doing the variation. When they get onto that, you go, oh! And when they ask you, go, do you like cheese? Yeah. This is old advice. But the best way is, and the more fun way, is whenever your teacher's back's turned, someone gives the signal and you all get down on your hands and knees and you run around the room barking. Barking, biting each other, lifting your leg on the furniture, and poking your nose into the other dog's bottoms. And your teachers hate that. So there's some life advice for you, apart from eating your vegetables. And I'd like to thank you all so much for coming out today. Thank you for reading my books and Terry's books. And what? What? You forgot. Well, that's it. I'm finishing this talk right now. Push me too far.